All right. No, but you ordered it? Perfect.
Get ready. Two, one, go.
All right, and we're live. It looks like we're live. What's up, guys? Welcome. Bit unorthodox here. We are live in Miami, Florida, man. We are right here in the heart of Miami, Florida, in Brickell, to be exact. Right here by Mary Brickell Village. And we got a sign, okay? And the sign says, "Women deserve less. Change my mind." So we're opening it up for, discussion. And we can go ahead and have a talk about why women deserve less. Obviously, my best-selling book, we talk about this in detail. It's only 90 pages or less than 100 pages because women deserve less. So we'll see what the people in Miami think about this, and we'll be able to have a good discussion. As you guys can see, I got the whole squad out here with me. Well, you might not be able to see them all, but I promise you that they're here. That's why it took us forever to get it started. But, we got a pretty complex setup here, multiple camera angles. I'm sure Sean can go ahead and show you guys some of the angles. You guys could get a nice little view of what Miami looks like. And I could, yeah, we're live. I'm looking right now. Okay, sweet. So, we're good, Bills? Good? All right, awesome. So, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry? Bethany? Methany. I don't know if we've met before.
Over here.
No? Okay, that was quick.
She must have been on the show.
Grand opening, grand closing. All right, that was fast. No, but you want to hit the mic and then we'll kind of give a preamble?
There you go. So, your opinion's pretty extreme.
Yes.
How did you come to this opinion? Because it's very extreme.
Why women deserve less?
Yeah.
So, basically, I came to this conclusion after many years of deliberation and pondering, and I kind of realized that we live in this world where we give women everything that they want without them earning it. We have simps all over the place, guys making thoughts rich, thoughts not having skill sets, not respecting men, not believing in, men being masculine. And quite frankly, we just live in a deregulated sexual marketplace. And obviously this has caused a lot of problems for both genders. I would argue that feminism has actually hurt women more than it's hurt men. Men, we're problem solvers. We find ways to deal with it, whether guys want to go ahead and pay for some box or, go to a foreign country and become a passport bro. Men have been able to figure out and deal with the problem. But I think with women, they haven't. And I think the situation that we have right now where, women find something like 60+% of men is completely, like 80, 90% of men is unattractive. That tells you where we kind of are. And that was years ago from a Cornell study. So I think feminism, if anything, has actually hurt women more than anybody else. And that's kind of where we are when I say women deserve less. It's more about they deserve less because it's going to protect them from themselves, because they don't understand that giving them more actually hurts them. So that's kind of my position on that. And obviously lots of feminists get mad at me for saying this, but I think we need to put them back in the kitchen.
Yeah. That's a very extreme opinion. Why don't you blame the men?
Why don't I blame the men? Well, I do. But the problem is, society already blames men, right? I think with men, if you're a loser, you deal with the consequences of that. Women don't want to deal with you. Guys don't want to be friends with you. No one cares about you. You basically end up becoming invisible. So men have to deal with consequences for inadequacy, but women don't. And I think that's the biggest problem, because we got a bunch of mediocre women running around, and they think that they're entitled to top shelf guys. And I think a big reason for this is because we live in this gynocentric society where we prioritize female wants and female standards over the male standards, right? If a woman is rude and loud, no one cares. But if a guy is meek and weak and doesn't have his money together, we make fun of him. So we don't have the same negative consequences for male inadequacy that we do for female inadequacies. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Yeah? Sure. Oh, what's up, man? These guys don't count. What's up, man? Yeah.
Myron.
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
These are, you want to introduce yourself to the people real quick? These are allies, guys, by the way. Shout out to Shani and his girl.
Hello. Okay, Shayna's good. Okay. Hi, Myron. Oh, hi, I'm Samantha McCarty.
Hi, good to see you again.
I work for Street Polar.
This is Shani's girlfriend, guys.
Yeah, I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Okay. If feminists had their own country, would they survive?
Hell no.
Why?
Good question. They wouldn't survive because the reality is that women can't actually defend themselves properly. You know, men have the monopoly of force, and women don't really have the capability to defend themselves against men that might attack them. This is why we have, you know, the military, police, etc. Men have the monopoly of force that allows women to be able to be safe. So, yeah, if we had a woman country, it would be taken over within a day, 24 hours.
Yikes. Should an IQ test be required to vote?
You know, that's a good question. I've thought about that myself, whether it be an IQ test or a civic exam. I think for men, right, they would be able to take the test automatically and be able to obviously vote. But for women, I think they'd have to have some other skin in the game to be able to even take the test.
What do you think some of those requirements or factors would be for women?
Ooh,
vote?
it would have to be public service, passing the civic test, and then being able to make a bologna sandwich properly.
Bologna.
They could do those three things. I think they should be able to vote.
What are some old-fashioned values that have kind of gone away that should be brought back?
I think men should be the providers. I think they should be the breadwinners. I know that's kind of something that's almost impossible to do nowadays. And I think women should really focus on rearing the children and being at home. But, you know, I think we're too far gone now at this point. I don't think the feminists are going to yield any ground. Now, there's some women I think that are waking up and realizing, like, feminism is a cancer. It's fucking them up. But it'll be very difficult to go backwards. But I do think if we brought simply the nuclear family back, that would handle 80% of the problems.
Would you rather date a liberal or an illegal immigrant?
An illegal immigrant, she at least knows how to make a sandwich.
That's it? That's the only thing?
Yeah, probably that. And then, yeah, it's
True.
and she's not going to talk back because she don't speak English. So that's even better.
Do you want me to keep going? Would you rather be misgendered in public or audited by the IRS?
Me be misgendered
Yes.
or audited by the IRS?
Yep.
Audited by the IRS.
Why?
I got nothing to hide.
So you wouldn't be offended if someone, you know, called you a different type of pronoun?
If they use the wrong pronoun, I wouldn't be offended. It is what it is. I mean, I think the whole concept of pronouns in itself is comical, but, you know. But that's the crazy world we're in now.
What's the bigger threat to America, drag queens or fentanyl?
Drag queens.
Why?
Because drag queens basically make it seem as though it's appropriate and acceptable to cross-dress, read books to kids, and do all the other degenerate behavior that they do. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd give them their own little area in a town or a city where they could just hang out there and do everything that they want to do. Well, I mean, if you don't like that, then that's fine. But, yeah, I think, yes. Yeah, segregation does have, I think segregation does work in some places, yes.
She's a... Oh, yeah. You want to go?
It's fine. Keep going. All right.
She's a 10, but she has her pronouns in her LinkedIn bio.
Sex only.
So she's
Would never
still a
take her
10
seriously.
then?
Oh, no, she goes down to like an 8 or a 9, but actually probably like a 7. But she would be automatically put in the sex only category.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
Thank you so much.
no worries. Who's up next? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, bro. I'll share it with you. Yeah, guys, if you want to go ahead and have a discussion, you're free to have a discussion. I mean, if you want to heckle from the side, that's fine. But, you know, if you're going to have points or whatever, just say what you got to say. We can have a discussion, no problem. Yes, what's up, man?
Oh, no, I just want to see what you got going on.
Oh, you want to see the sign?
Yeah, let's see. Women deserve less?
Women deserve less. Change my mind, yes.
Why do you think women deserve less?
Well, there's a bunch of different reasons, but I would say to make it nice and simple, we got too many simps out here.
What's the constant variable of what they currently have of deserving that they should deserve less of?
Oh, look, she flipped the middle finger up. She's so mad. Can't defend your ideas. Just got to put a middle finger up, I see. So sorry, what was that question?
So yeah, I said, what's that constant variable that women currently deserve that you think they should have less of? What's that they have right now that they're getting?
What is it that they have?
That they're getting.
Oh man, well
deserving.
here's the thing: they get preferential treatment. They're able to be treated like a lady while simultaneously being able to behave like men with almost zero consequence. They could basically double dip. So another can enjoy the benefits of being treated like a lady, right? Enjoy chivalry and traditional male standards, like men treating them like ladies, while simultaneously they can also behave rude, erratic, crass, with zero consequence.
Can't men do the same thing?
No, we can't.
No.
We're actually held to standards unlike women.
You think so?
Yes.
What backs that up?
For example, you, right? How old are you?
I'm 20.
You're 20. So, who do you think is going to have more value in society, you or a 20-year-old girl?
Depends which 20-year-old girl, because me, physically, I work my ass off and I'm, focused and do what I need to do. I'm sure there's a woman that's 20 years old that does the same thing.
Okay, here's
and
the
I'm sure
beauty.
There's a majority that
You
don't
said you
do
work
that.
your ass off, right?
Of course.
Why do you work your ass off?
I mean, because I don't ever want to have my mom working a day in her life. That's all
Cool.
it is.
So there's a burden of performance on you, right? You have to work.
I have to. No one has to work.
Well, if you didn't work, your status would decrease. Fair?
Not necessarily. Nowadays, no.
Yeah, it would decrease. So the reason why you're working is because you kind of know it's like an unspoken reality that men have to perform. But if I took a 20-year-old girl, she doesn't have to work. You do. That's my point.
I mean, working is one thing, because women, they can work in other ways. It doesn't just have to be like a 9-to-5, making money. They can work in supporting and doing
Work in
things
what?
around the house.
Working what?
They don't have to work
Can you turn up the
monetarily.
speaker? You got to turn up the speaker. Because it's coming in very, very low. Yeah, let's turn up that speaker. Sorry.
For example, if you have a team of people, not every single person is just bringing in money. Someone helps someone else to support them throughout their daily life, to assist them to make that money. So let's say if I had a woman that was, living with me, and she was my girlfriend, she doesn't need to make money as long as she makes my life easier to be able to make money. And that's just as much as a help as me making money.
Here's the difference. It wouldn't work the other way around. That's my point.
You're saying
If she worked and
Why
you
not?
helped her out behind the scenes,
Why not?
it probably wouldn't work. Because women don't like to provide for men long term.
It depends on the situation, depends on the person.
90+% of women do not want to be a breadwinner for a man ever.
That's
Ever.
not true.
That's propaganda, feminist propaganda. Women, if they out-earn their man or they're in a position where they're in a leadership role, there's a very high likelihood they will leave you.
My mother's a perfect example of that. It's the complete opposite, so I don't
Is she
agree.
with your dad still?
Of course.
Okay, and how long they been married?
They got married, high school sweethearts, since they were, I believe, 18. They got married, moved here together.
And was your mom the breadwinner the entire time?
They were 50-50.
Okay, and then what is it now? Now she's the breadwinner?
At first, it was my dad. Well, basically, my mom went to school. My dad worked. Then my mom worked because she got her degree. And
He
my
put her
dad
through school.
then went to school. And now they both work. And I would say that my mom has a more consistent and, makes more money than my dad. And that completely discredits to a point of what you're saying, because there's a degree where my dad wasn't working, assisting her.
Well, you
So-
also got to understand that anecdotal evidence, like based on your own personal experience, doesn't necessarily reflect the rest of the
No, I
world. So
agree.
though that might be your situation with your parents, which is great, a lot of the
possible.
times that's just not the reality. And the other thing also that you need to understand is that your father was the breadwinner for a significant amount of time in their relationship.
How do you know it's significant? What if I say 2 years?
Well, those 2 years is where she was able to go to school, right?
And vice versa when he went to school.
Okay, but he put her through school. So he allowed her to basically be able to go to school, and he
she put
could-
him through school, yes.
That's
they both
very
put
important.
each other through school.
That's very, very important. That's a pertinent fact to the situation. But again, like I said before, women, right, are not going to provide long-term for men the same way that men will provide long-term for women. Also, I think it's important to understand that your parents had a longer relationship, so by the time that everything planned out and she's being the breadwinner, she's a bit older. She might not be able to enter the dating marketplace the
Can
same
you
level.
elaborate on the word provide?
I'm sorry?
Can you elaborate on what you mean by
You
provide?
said she was the majority breadwinner, right?
Disregard what my situation was in my family. I want you to elaborate and describe what you mean providing, a woman providing is. What do you see that as?
The reality is this, man. So, I know this is considered politically incorrect to say this, but most women do not want to be the breadwinner for men. They just don't. Now, they'll sit there and have the feminist propaganda and say, I'm a boss bitch and I'll make a bunch of money and I'll do X, Y, Z. But the reality is when women say I'm independent, you got to ask yourself, who are they independent of? It's men. They do that to say, I don't need a man, and they make that money for themselves. When a man makes money, he says, how can I have a family? When a woman makes money, she says, I don't need a man. Completely different mindsets when we make a certain amount of money.
So providing, essentially, you're talking about monetarily when it comes to money.
Yes, when it comes to, yes, being a breadwinner. Men are far more comfortable and built to provide for women than women are for men. If a woman is in a provider situation, the likelihood of that relationship falling apart is very high. Now, there's some situations like yours where it was able to work. But I do think it's important to understand that your dad had a bit of equity there where he helped her get to the position that she's at. So there's some level of reciprocity there now that, you know, she's making the money. But in most situations, women are not okay with providing long-term for men, especially now.
So on a follow-up question, you're talking about providing as a woman or a man is just monetary. What would success look like for you as a human being?
For me?
As a human being, what does success look like?
Having a nuclear family, having a woman that respects you and obeys you. You make the decisions, you're the head of the household, and bringing it back to what it was before. But this whole like equal partnership stuff that we push out there, it's not true. It's all a lie.
So you're saying being able to support and, you know, have a woman that supports you is what success looks like for you as a human being?
Yes, you support financially, and obviously you're the bedrock, and she takes care of the children in the home, and you know, have defined gender roles. I think that's very important.
And as a person, more, what would you be happy with yourself? Let's say you're on your deathbed and you're looking back. What would you look back on and say, wow, that was success?
I think when you're looking at your deathbed, the only thing that matters, when you're on your deathbed, the only thing that matters looking back is, did you create a legacy and do you have a family? I think you want to be on that deathbed with people surrounding you that you've helped create to some degree.
So what if, let's say on my deathbed, I have $100 million there, and when I look back, I was like, damn, I was a shitty person. You know, I didn't do a lot of things. I wasn't so wise. I wasn't so kind. But instead, you maybe had that same amount of money, but you had a woman that instilled those values in you and your family. I think that's worth more than any $100 million could count for.
I agree. I think less money in a family is far more important than more money in no family. I agree.
And a woman brings that.
I agree. All right, thank you. Who's up next? He is? Sure, whoever wants to come up next.
I'm gonna come on.
What's up?
How you doing?
Yo.
I can do that. Just adjust this. So yeah, just hold that. I got it. I did this for a little while. I know. So that's your book, Why Women Deserve Less?
Yes.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. I just want context. So as we talk, I want to understand your mindset. So we're going to have a debate or a conversation. I want to make sure you understand.
I think men simp on women too much. I think that's one of the main ones. I think a lot of guys don't make women earn their keep. And we've created a pretty shitty marketplace for that. That's created a lot of issues.
So you think men have created it or the women have created that?
Both parties are responsible to a degree.
Okay.
Both have their contributions
Okay.
to the deregulation and the problems that we have.
So do you think what specifically made you come to this whole concept of women deserve less?
Many years of pondering.
That's it?
Many years of pondering,
You
yes.
married?
Many years of pondering.
You married?
No.
You got a baby mama?
No.
No kids?
No.
You don't want kids?
Not right now. But in the future,
How old
yes.
are you? How old are you?
35.
Okay. You got time.
Yeah.
You got till 55 and you good. So you can go crazy. I just need to understand. I'm trying to understand why, because none of your rationale right now makes sense at all. That's because you're telling me what you think, and I'm telling you what I think right now. So it just doesn't make sense.
All right,
And
what
you were
doesn't make sense?
So you talked to the young man about him, his parents. He had a great, because that's his world. His mom actually makes more money than his dad, but they've been together since they were 15, 18. I don't know when he said.
I don't know how long.
But I think the whole concept of him saying that is a lot of people who experience, and there's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, they helped each other to make that beautiful young man be able to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, but we also have to be realistic and understand that that's not the norm. Most women are not okay with being breadwinners in a relationship. And then obviously when you explained it a bit more, it made a bit more sense, because his father was in a breadwinner position and then assisted his mom with being able to go to school.
They assisted each other. They assisted each other.
Yes, he was the breadwinner for a period of time to allow his mom
she went
to go
to
to school.
And then they flipped it.
Exactly.
Which was great. They had to understand it, right?
Yes, but that's not
communication.
the norm, and that's not what typically happens. I mean, you know, we have a very high divorce rate. We have a lot of the decline of marriage in America, and I don't blame the guys for not getting married because there's not really much benefit now getting married for a man.
So it's not any benefit for being married for a man?
Virtually none, no. I mean,
Okay.
I think that there's any benefit. I mean, I'll ask you this. What benefit does a guy get from marrying a woman that he doesn't get from just being in a regular long-term relationship?
Depends on what you want.
Okay,
So
well,
a benefit.
what those benefits
Let's
mean?
go through. Let's go. Some men just want an arm piece. Some men want somebody they can grow old with. Some men want somebody they can make money with.
You
Some
can
men
do all that without being married.
No,
That's my point.
No, we're talking about benefits. We not. That's all. No, we just talking about benefits. If you decided when you decide to get married,
All right, let me ask the question
Okay.
again. What I asked you was, what benefit do men get from getting married from a woman that they otherwise would not get from just being in a regular relationship?
What's
There's
It
none.
doesn't-
It's a trick
that's-
question. There's almost none.
but that's personal though. That it's personal why a person gets married.
I would
They-
say that's fairly. I mean, like I said before, if they choose to get married, that's one thing, but they're not
but
getting
that's-
any real
but
benefits
that-
for
Right,
doing
they're
so.
choosing to get married,
But
so
they don't get benefits. If anything, they
the
get
only reason you
liability.
get married because you're in love with the person, or you have some religious reason that you get married.
Again, I'm speaking
or-
very pragmatically, and I'm giving you a pragmatic situation, and you're responding with kind of an emotional response. I'm saying that with men,
You know,
right,
hold on
there's-
one second.
There's no benefit.
Just because I raised my voice doesn't make me emotional. That makes you're talking like a woman now.
No, I'm
So-
actually just telling you
so
very
that doesn't make
pragmatically.
me. I'm just talking.
I'm telling you
and
very
I'm-
pragmatically.
Hey, I'm big. My voice raises. You might get intimidated a little bit.
Not
We're
at
just
all.
having fun. I'm enjoying this. This is where I stop because I think you're amazing.
Yeah.
I want to tell you you're
no,
amazing.
I'm just saying, pragmatically speaking, there's no benefit to a man getting married in the West anymore. There's almost none.
So
If
why they-
anything,
why they
it's
give West-
only downside. And I asked you, can you name one thing that a man would get as a benefit from getting married in this day and age? And you mentioned some things, but those things can all be attained in a regular relationship without getting married.
But again, you can't. That's fine. You can say that, but that's a choice. It's still a choice. I get what you're saying.
I asked
I'm
a
not
very
disagreeing.
direct question. And
No. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but
Okay.
also on my side, that's still a choice. Like if I decide to get married to her right now, because she's beautiful and I love curly hair,
Okay.
and that's my thing. So what? You can't tell me no different. And if I feel good about that, cool. At some point we get divorced. That's my fault because I chose her. I didn't talk to her.
Okay,
I didn't get to
think
know
we've
her. so-
reached kind of an impasse here. Who's up next?
Oh man, I got kicked out.
What's up?
Hello, how are you?
What's up, man? How are you? Chilling?
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so you already know.
How-
Another day in office.
How
What's
would
up,
you
man?
Good, how are you?
How are you?
How would you define like deserve? When you mean deserve less, monetarily, in what way do you mean they deserve less?
It could be a multitude of different things. I mean, tell me what you're thinking and what we could kind of go off what you're thinking.
I'll go off you. You're the one that says they deserve less.
Well, you came up here, so.
All right. So
Go ahead.
I would say for you, maybe it means like monetarily or love or emotionally. I'm raised in a Middle Eastern
I mean,
family, but
money is one thing. I think it's a bunch of different things. I think it's time, attention, resources,
Okay.
money. It could be a multitude of different things. I think a lot of guys simply simp on women for no reason.
okay, that I probably agree with you.
Okay.
But in the sense of deserve, when someone says deserve, there's a value of a man and a woman. Do you think it's different?
The value between a man and a woman?
I mean, deserve kind of comes with some. There's some. If you say, as a person, something deserves less, either they're a bad person or there's something to them that means they're lesser than. Unless you think people are just not born equally.
Yeah, the reason why I say deserve less is because the status quo is to give them everything.
The status quo is to give them everything.
Yes.
To women.
Yes.
You think so?
The accepted modality of dealing with women is being a simp nowadays, and I tell guys not to do that, and also be an extreme gentleman, and I don't think extreme gentlemen to women anymore in today's day and age.
It shouldn't be extreme gentlemen to women.
Like treating a woman like it's 1950 when she doesn't behave like it's 1950, in other words. So you're a traditional guy, you're being chivalrous, but she's not necessarily a traditional woman.
Wouldn't it be that subjective to the women? It wouldn't be all women? for
Of
you?
course, every situation is different, but I
Right.
would argue that most women nowadays, modern women, have some adoption of modern feminism that quite frankly, makes it in a situation where it's maybe not in your best interest to practice chivalry with them. I think it's earned. The point I'm trying to make here is that they need to earn that gentleman treatment from you.
They need to earn that gentleman treatment.
Absolutely, yes.
So it shouldn't start, gets lost. It has to be earned from the beginning.
Yes, and there's a multitude of different ways to assess this, but yes, I think guys need to reserve treating women like ladies in the beginning so that they don't get taken advantage of.
Do you think in some cases it would be better to learn the hard way? I mean, if you think about it, women are obviously maybe
Now,
not stronger. Men are obviously more masculine. In most cases, you probably, as a man, the value is to take care of somebody, build a family. You're protecting. That's traditional value.
Here's the thing: some guys, a lot of guys do learn the hard way, and a lot of guys are stubborn. They have to learn the hard way. They have to get burned a few times to realize that the stove is hot. Now, you know, smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from other people's mistakes. So, I put the information out there. If they choose to want to still experiment and get burned, that's fine. But at least they have the ability to know that that information was there, and at least I could connect some dots for them. Because a lot of guys, what ends up happening is they make the mistake, they don't know what happened, what led to it, and then they put a gun in their mouth and they want to end it all because they weren't able to figure out what's going on. So I do think that it's important to have that information out there, and if they decide to take it, cool. If they don't, that's fine. But a lot of the times they'll go make the mistake, then they'll come back and say, yeah, he was right. Let me go back and look at this. Let me re-examine this. So I think having that information there is very important.
Agreed. But wouldn't that mean it's not that women would deserve less, but rather how you choose your women or the person beside you? It's not instinctively the woman that deserves less.
No, I think every guy needs to approach a woman from a position of she needs to earn her keep.
So they don't deserve less. They just need to show for what they deserve.
You can make that argument. But again, like I said, status quo is to come in, assuming they deserve less, and then let her prove you wrong.
So as in the man's the value.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, this whole concept of women are the prize is garbage. It's a lie.
You don't think so?
No.
Are you? Can I ask you if you're religious by chance?
No, I'm not religious. No.
Okay. I'm not sure how familiar with the Quran, but there's a hadith that says the.
Yeah. Water? Can I get some water? Yeah.
I'm not sure how familiar you are, but there's a.
I'm not religious, man. So I mean, using a hadith and stuff like that isn't really the way to go.
I know, but I'm just trying to see what you think of it. It says that the gates of paradise behold under the foot of the mother, and just kind of showing the importance of a mother. What's your opinion of mothers?
Well, remember that the Quran and these hadiths were written at a time when women obeyed men and actually respected male authority. They don't anymore.
You don't think so?
They don't. Absolutely, they don't.
But maybe on average, sure, it's a little less.
Absolutely, they don't.
But in that time, it was a little different. I would agree with you, but a
no,
mother's
it's way
still a
different.
mother.
Women respected male authority, so they don't anymore, and that's the problem. So what I'm saying is that we got to deal with, and this is the problem with religion a lot of the times, is religion doesn't equip men to properly deal with modern-day females.
Modern-day females.
Yeah, it does not equip you to deal with it because modern-day women are not the women of the book. Whether it's Judaism, Christianity, Islam, the religions, unfortunately, the Abrahamic religions do not account for modernity with the way women behave now.
Sure, there's definitely a difference between women.
Now, if you find a religious woman of the book and she follows it, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But that's very difficult to find.
So there you go. So there's a point where a woman can show they deserve something, but it's more they don't deserve less. It's just that some of them have lost what the true nature of
what I'm saying is that men need to enter every relationship with women skeptical.
Skeptical. Yeah.
Skeptical and assume that they deserve less unless they prove that they deserve more. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
And there's nothing wrong with that because men have to perform.
Yep.
You have to come up to her, tell a funny joke, be interesting,
yep.
be charismatic, be charming. Why can't we put standards on women? I'm simply telling guys to put standards on women because we don't put standards on them. That's why they behave the way that they do.
So just no unconditional value to women is essentially what you're saying. Not that they deserve less, just don't be unconditional to just because they're a woman.
What I'm saying is approach it from a skeptical standpoint and assume she deserves less unless she proves that she deserves more. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Which interestingly enough, I hope you know, this is how women deal with men.
Less. Yeah.
This is precisely how women deal with men from an adversarial perspective of what can he provide for me?
Yeah, what can you do, what he brings.
Versus men are so stupid to come into a relationship and say, oh, what can I provide for her? How can I go ahead and help her out? They don't come in with that same mindset. I'm simply telling men to treat women the way they treat us when it comes to the beginning of a relationship. And I would argue men have way more skin in the game when they deal with women, so it behooves us to move with skepticism when we deal with them.
Do you think like the love of a woman?
Who's up next though? Because we got a lot of people here.
You're good.
I see. Do we got a line? We got a line, right? All right, so let's get some other
Appreciate it.
people on. Thank you. Thank you. No worries, man. Appreciate you. Hi.
What's up, bro? Seen on
How
the
are you?
pods. It's crushing. For an argument, could you define what you mean real quick in a more into context? Like when you say less value,
I
less
literally just
attention,
went over
less
that with the other
resources?
guy.
30 seconds.
I literally just went over that.
15
for-
seconds. Less what? Less attention?
I
less...
said it. Just not even. I said men need to approach relationships and dealing with women from a skeptical standpoint.
Well, that's a little different than women deserve less, but I think I
Yes,
agree
assume
with
that
you.
they deserve less unless they prove they deserve more. Yes.
Okay, that's a tough argument because I think I agree with that. But the thing of where I disagree, because I've watched some of your content.
Sure.
So I'll pick on points that I think I disagree with.
All right, what do you disagree with?
Do you think you value commitment to a woman?
Can we turn up that mic?
Do
The
you
music is loud. Sorry, say that again.
do you value commitment to a woman?
If it's the right woman, yes.
Okay. Can I
But
ask
that
you
commitment has to be earned.
Facts, 100%. You preach a message a lot right now that the masses is that women are basically like a lot of what I would consider Miami women that are going after value, that are kind of going after them for basically their money in a sense, for lack of better words. And I think what's missing potentially part in your message is that it's like you probably don't speak enough about the fact that commitment to a woman, at least in a biblical stance, which not everyone's Christian, not everyone's ever, but there's a reason why biblical is the way it's written. If it goes church, Christ, man, woman, marriage, there's a reason that it's written that way. And I think part of your message is missing that it's like, are you married?
No,
Or do you want to get married?
I will in the future.
Why?
But not with the state involved.
Not with what?
Not with the state involved.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a whole other conversation.
With who involved?
Oh, it'd just be. I think it's a union between man and woman and God. But what I'm saying is that, right? So look,
Okay, fair.
I see your perspective because the other guy made a religious argument as well. So I agree with you on what you just said.
Okay.
But the problem is that most women do not observe this Christian worldview that you presented. Unfortunately,
I agree.
I wish they did.
I agree.
That was back when we were a superpower in the 50s.
I agree.
But now we live in a secularized world
Okay.
where most women think it's okay to kill babies.
Yep.
They don't believe in male authority.
Yep.
They don't respect men in general, masculinity,
Facts.
and most importantly, they don't respect the concept of men are above women.
Okay.
If I was to say women are supposed to obey men, most women will bucket that and say that's bullshit. Obviously, you would agree with me because you come from the Christian world,
Yeah.
my worldview. But the problem is that we no longer have these things in place to keep women in check, unfortunately.
I agree with you a lot, which is probably the problem. However, I will say one thing.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the root of the problem is not the women. The women in Miami down here that are running around and acting like the way they act is because of the weak fucking men we have in this country. Because the men aren't stepping up and they're fit because they ain't got no wealth, because they're not stepping up into. Correct, because men aren't stepping up into the man they're supposed to be created to be. If more men stepped up and said, I'm going to be a leader, and the man that I'm supposed to be, I'm created, I'm divine, I'm going to follow my purpose, I'm going to do the things that God's calling me to be, I'm going to be fit, I'm going to be wealthy, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to wake up early. If men did more of those things, I think women would actually have more of a breed to go after and more actual men to go after. The problem is that for as many women as there are that are out here hoeing around, there's double as many men being weak men that aren't stepping into their purpose.
Yeah, for sure. There's many problems that I've been able to identify with this: the destruction of the nuclear family, men not necessarily adhering to their roles. But I think something that we don't talk about because we're so easy to criticize men, which I do this all the time as well. But we never talk about the invisible column, which is feminism.
Sure.
And this feminism has created a lot of problems, and to talk about that gets you labeled a misogynist, gets you banned off social media.
Okay,
gets you,
I think
get what I'm saying?
I think that's bullshit. But however, at the same time, okay, let's say.
But we know that that's the problem.
YouTube bans Fresh and Fit. Then what? Fresh and Fit figures it out. Whatever. Anybody, it's a responsibility aspect. So if we're preaching the concept and we're preaching the responsibility to men, I think, and more importantly, if men stepped up way more than the way they're stepping up today, the men in this country would respond. If you point the finger at the women are going to be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, why? Because there's a bunch of fucking weak men running around.
Yeah.
You step up as a man, and as you preach that message, you have a bunch of men stepping into their calling, into their purpose. I can guarantee you the woman problem already solves itself. Just like everything else.
Again, like I said, for sure, I agree with you. Like that, the men are obviously not adhering to what they're supposed to adhere to. But like I said before, we already bash the men enough and say men need to step up, etc. This has been the.
I disagree.
No, that's absolutely. They've been demonizing men for a very long time.
I think modern feminism men do, which I think is bullshit, and I agree with.
No,
but I don't think men, you men, me men, like men have men-to-men conversations and say, "Yo, you need to step it the fuck up." I don't think enough men are having that conversation.
But like I said before, we already hold men's feet to a fire to perform. Okay, we already do that, right? And men have been ostracized from society for being losers, etc. My point is that we don't hold that same level of accountability on the female side. Is my point. Now, religion used to do that.
Yes.
Religion, shame, family,
Correct.
society.
Correct.
They used to do that, but
Yes.
guess what? Those guardrails are now gone. So since those guardrails are gone, where
Bring
religion
them
doesn't
back.
matter,
Bring them back.
girls can be whores.
Preach that message.
There's feminists, etc. But
Think
here's
about
the thing.
that. Preach that message.
We're never going back.
Preach that message.
But
Bring
here's
that
the thing.
shit. Bring that shit back, and I can guarantee you right now, the rest
Okay,
of the problem will solve itself.
Look, and this is the religious argument that guys make.
Hold on.
Look.
You're pointing a finger at a symptom, not the root. You say the root, men. You step the fuck up and you solve your problems. 99% of the shit you're talking about is solved. It's just like businesses. It's just like podcasts. Oh, YouTube demonetized me. You're the problem, brother. Fix it. You fix your own shit. You end up rising to the problem and solve and make a solution, just like it would be for women.
Again, like I said before, that's all ideal. That's all great. But the reality, like I said before, is that what's ideal versus what's real are really two different things.
Right,
and
fair.
this religious idealism, it used to be the thing that kept women in line, but it's gone now. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
I think I'll agree with you that that's what's happening today, and I'll agree with you on that.
Yes, that's
but
the
I do
problem.
think that and I agree. I'm not going to disagree with you on
Feminism,
that. Feminism and modern feminism is fucking
feminism,
bullshit.
while secularizing the country, have led to this big problem. But that's what you can't talk about, is my point. We can sit here and point the finger at men all the time. We do.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But to point it on the other side, that's when you start getting censored. That's when you start getting banned. That's when you start getting shadow banned. That's when
Which
you
I
don't-
agree
when
is
you, when you
bullshit.
have issues. So that's what I'm saying, is that we never talk about that problem. Trust me, I've talked about men being bums and losers, etc.
Yeah.
I tell guys all the time, you shouldn't even date unless you can provide for her and
Correct.
yourself. But we already know that. We don't talk about the other problem.
All right, last point, because I think this is where we agree on too many things to make this a
Sure, and there's a huge
beautiful
line here
comment.
too. So,
last thing is, if the message was bringing back what you just said mattered, which is a lot of the biblical times, a lot of the biblical principles, bringing back the men stepping into their calling, men stepping into their purpose. If that was the core message to men right now, and that was spelt louder, that was spoken more, that was spoken in a more frequent message, to me, this is my opinion, which is why I'm on this mic. Speaking about the woman in Kyle's eyes, which in a man's eyes, is like you're wasting your time, you're spending your energy on something where you're speaking about a symptom when you could be speaking about the root. And the root, in my opinion, is the fact that men are not stepping into their calling enough in this country. And if you did that shit more right now, I can guarantee you right now, a lot of it, you wouldn't be here on this corner.
Trust me, we do.
There'd be more shit.
we do. We have episodes dedicated to guys stepping their stuff up all the time.
Well, let's fucking go.
We do.
I'll be on the next one of those.
Yeah. Okay, who's up next? Thank you for coming on.
What's up, my man?
What's up, man?
What's your name again? I've seen you before, but I'm sorry. What's your name?
It's Myron.
Myron. Nice to. I'm Justin. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I saw the sign. I have one opinion of this. I don't think that. I think deserve comes down to a thing of merit, right? Like if a woman has the same qualifications as a man in the same field, why not? She doesn't deserve less than a man, right? If a man is getting paid for more for something than a woman with less merit, then I think that becomes the argument. But I think that honestly...
Are you speaking from like a professional perspective?
No, absolutely not. I just think it comes down to merit based. I don't think it should be based on race.
No, but I'm saying
gender.
You're saying like if they both have the same job and have the same merits.
Qualifications.
Yeah, I'm not speaking from that perspective.
Okay, what are you speaking from?
I'm speaking from a more relationship perspective versus a professional perspective.
In that perspective, I think it comes down to still what do they bring to the table. I think historically and traditionally, men are considered to be the ones to provide, and women are the ones that are there to nurture children and to kind of take care of some of the homework while the man provides for the family. I actually agree with that, to be honest with you, and I mean that in no disrespect to women. I think if there's a woman in a
hold on, let me stop you real quick.
Okay.
Notice how you had to say, I mean that in no disrespect to women. That is precisely why I'm here doing
Correct.
this, because the problem is that women look at it as it's an insult to tell them to be a lady or behave like a lady. But if someone tells you, be a man, get a job, support a family, we don't get mad at that. We understand that's our duty. But them, on the other hand, they get angry when you say, hey, you know, I want you to be in the house and take care of the family, or hey, we want women that are going to take care of kids. They get angry at that.
Fair enough.
Right?
I believe if a woman's in a position to take care and do the providing financially, and a man stays home and takes care of the kids, and she's okay with that, and there's no assumption of responsibilities there, that's just as good. I think that sometimes these taboos get carried away of like, I'm supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. I think it's situational with people where if you are the one and a man is just confident enough to accept your role as the provider and he stays home and he's not the breadwinner, to let him do that. But I think
that simply doesn't work in most situations, though.
Yeah, in most situations,
I know that'd be
correct.
ideal for a lot of guys, but the reality is most women are not going to be okay with being the breadwinner and coming home to a guy taking care of the house. They're just not going to want that.
Well, most of the time it's
unfortunately.
because women that are the breadwinners don't want to talk to women that are broker than them.
I'm sorry?
I said most of the time it's because women that are usually the breadwinners don't want to talk to men broker than they are. They want to aim up.
Exactly.
And men will aim as low as they can go sometimes. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Just for the night. And I think that's the disparity. When it comes to deserve, that's a very situational word of do they deserve less? I think it comes down to a maturity of understanding your role and playing that role. Like, I make the most money, so I need you to do this as far as the partnership goes. And sometimes men they don't feel masculine enough to accept that, and sometimes women don't want to work up to that standard of being that role. And if they are, then usually they're dating someone much more comfortable than somebody broker than they are.
Yeah, the point basically is that I'm telling guys to enter any type of situation with a female with a healthy level of skepticism, because unfortunately most women don't have that worldview that you described of wanting to be a helpmate and follow a man and everything else like that. Most women would actually bucket you if you said, hey, I need you to obey me and adhere to certain things, unfortunately.
They would be one of the ones I probably would try to bag, honestly.
Cool. Who's up next?
Hey, Bates, thank you.
No worries. Who's up next? It's funny, but women get mad and they just walk by and they don't say anything, right? Is that interesting?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey.
What do you mean that women deserve less? Could you explain that more clearly?
Men need to enter relationships with women with a healthy level of skepticism.
Why is that?
Because most women, unfortunately, don't provide a reciprocal amount of value to a man in a relationship. And if they enter in giving her more, well, they're probably going to take an L in the long run.
What kind of value do you say that women aren't providing? What are they lacking in?
Well, a lot of modern-day women don't respect most men. A lot of them don't respect male authority. A lot of them think that men are below them. A lot of them think that they deserve the world simply by existing. A lot of them don't think that they need to cook or clean or adhere to certain, traditional feminine roles. Basically, they can do whatever they want, and their roles are malleable to whatever they want versus your roles are static as a man.
But why should a woman have a traditional role? Why should she be home cleaning and doing all this bullshit that women in the past have been fucking miserable doing? Nowadays, there's more women doctors, AI, engineers. They're doing better jobs than men. They're getting lower suing, like they have less things
Yeah,
like
but
that.
what's the cost of that?
The cost of them is working and going to college and thinking, using their brain.
But what is the cost of that, though?
I was just trying to say, instead of sitting around and letting a man have his authority over her and tell her what to do and where she's going to be and how many kids she's going to have and how many people she should fuck and whatever else you're trying to say, if all women deserve less, does it mean every woman or just a subset of women?
Yeah, so what you just described is like women entering the workforce and like feminism. And I would argue that's a big problem with why we have the society that we have, right? We have marriages in the toilet. We have divorce rates, highest they've ever been. We have women on more SSRIs and antidepressant medication ever before, despite the fact that they have more privileges and access than they've ever had before, most educated, but yet they're still unhappy. We have, an epidemic of single mothers. We have a bunch of children that don't have a father. We have a bunch of kids that are running around being degenerates. We have school shooters all over the place. We have an enormous amount of crime. The economy is in the shitter.
But that's their fault. That's not women's fault.
No, what I am saying is a symptom of that, of the country declining, a big component of that is due to feminism.
How
because
does
feminism,
wait.
I'll explain, let me
You're
go
not
through.
No, you're not making
feminism,
sense. You're throwing out things and they're not making sense. So you're saying there's a high crime rate, you're saying that men are not being respected and all that, and it's all because of feminism. Okay?
Yes, because...
Give me an example.
Yeah, I'll explain. So when you look at the degradation of society, it's typically directly rooted to the destruction of the nuclear family. The nuclear family is the backbone of any thriving society. the thing that hurt and impeded, or some would even say killed the nuclear family in the West, especially the United States, was feminism. Because thanks to birth control and the rise of feminism and the rise of, free love in the 1960s, what basically has happened is women have said, oh, I make my own money now. If I make my own money and I have my own status, well, I don't need a man anymore. And what's ended up happening is
What's wrong with that?
Well, that destroys the nuclear family. That's my
right,
point.
But what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with what?
Destroying the nuclear family. Society's changed. Things change. Women don't need to be sitting around being married to someone and answering to someone and saying, hey, I can't have a high body count. They should be able to go fuck who they want, do whatever they want, and be happy. Okay, instead of sitting at home waiting for some guy. Let's just reverse things a minute, okay? Let's say that someone told you, you got to sit around and you got to be moral, and any girl you want to fuck, you can't do it because women think that's wrong. And you will behave and do as you're told and live a miserable life. You say women are more on, mentally ill drugs or whatever? That's because they're sick of their lives. They're sick of being told what to do. They want a career. They want to travel.
They're not told what to do anymore is precisely my point. They have all the freedom, yet they're still on antidepressant medication.
No, they have more freedoms now. They're just starting to get more freedoms.
No, they've had them for a very long time.
Very little.
And they're still having higher suicide rates. They're on more antidepressant
males
medication.
have higher suicide rates.
No, I'm saying women have higher suicide rates now than before is my point.
Younger Gen Z and millennial women do have higher.
Yes, so as things have gotten better for women, they've made more money, gotten more education, become, contributing members of society. Everything has gotten better for them, yet they're less happy.
Everything hasn't gotten better. They're still judged as whores sleep around. They're still judged as pigs and losers if they're winners.
I would argue they're not judged as whores.
Men are weaklings if a woman makes more than they can't fucking handle it. What'd you say?
They're not judged as whores.
Oh, yeah, no. Yes, they are judged whores. If a woman becomes a doctor, teacher, something that pays well, the men are automatically insecure. They fucking can't handle it, And,
no, the promiscuity is not promiscuity is not shamed to the same level that it used to be. Now, going back to the whole thing.
Correct.
So let me make sure I understand this.
Right.
So you don't think the destruction of the nuclear family is what led to society going and decaying?
Wait, you're saying if a rock falls and breaks, did it break? You need to say what you're saying differently.
What I'm saying is that my argument is the nuclear family is the backbone of a society.
I don't believe the nuclear family is a backbone.
Okay, so that's where we disagree. I think
we definitely disagree with that.
Yeah, I think the nuclear family is the backbone of a society, a thriving society.
Right, but if that's the case, let's imagine that you're right for 3 seconds, okay? What you're saying out here is women deserve less. So why would I want to be a part of a nuclear family where a woman deserves less? Where I'm putting in the same work or more, but I deserve less?
Yeah, because
explain that to me.
The point I'm trying to make is the reason why is because modern day women are no longer traditional women.
What does that mean? They fuck with people?
Yeah, more promiscuous, they're more rude, they don't respect male authority.
Okay, but wait, why should they? Why shouldn't a woman sleep around as she wants? Why?
There's a bunch of problems with that.
Give me one.
Women that sleep around tend to have more mental instability. They tend to have problems with pair bonding. They tend to be more miserable, sad, more likely to use alcohol, abuse drugs. This is why women that are sex workers and porn stars almost always end up...
Everyone goes through an immaturity stage, okay? People like to go off to college. They like to fuck. They like to have a good time. But then at a certain point, they say, okay, I've had enough. I want someone who loves me and cares about me. Or... I don't want anyone who loves me. I get there's a lot of trauma in people's lives. 25% of women have been sexually abused. There's a lot of problems out there. It isn't just the backbone of society, this marriage thing you keep talking about, Yeah, and women are doing better than men, and they're going to be pulling the strings. They're the ones that are going to be controlling AI, medical, the intelligence agencies. Let's not forget who got bin Laden. It was a female intelligence agent, okay?
Yeah, but who went and actually shot him?
Who went out and shot him? U.S. Special Forces. But a woman told him where it was.
And those were all men.
But a woman told him where it was.
And the thing is, that team that you mentioned, that you're talking about, that caught bin Laden, it was majority men. Yeah, there was a woman that headed it, but it was a majority of men.
If it's the majority of men, but the woman figured it out, who's the smarter of them?
No, she was just a supervisor.
Just a supervisor?
She was just a supervisor.
There was a woman FBI agent who told Bill Clinton they're going to crash planes into the buildings, and he laughed her off, and all the male agents laughed her off. So, sorry, women are in intelligence agencies, women are way more intelligent than men. And they're getting better in AI, which is the future, and they're getting better in medical, science, cancer research. Women are blowing men away. And they don't want to live in a traditional role where they come home. And you're saying down here that women deserve less. I'm going to ask you again. All women deserve less, or just women who don't suck up to men? Which one is
like
it?
I said before, I said it from the beginning, When I say women deserve less, I'm talking about from a relationship perspective.
From what
being
perspective?
skeptical from a relationship perspective.
Militia?
Relationship.
A relation. Okay.
And then you went ahead and talked about the professional stuff. Look, I mean,
No, I talked about sleeping around, professional stuff,
Yeah, you
SSR,
literally-
antidepressant. I talked about it all.
yes,
Suicide.
and I'm telling you that as women have become able to attend school and make money and get these careers, their depression and their sadness and their life happiness has gone down alongside that. Is what I'm trying to explain to you.
But
Just
that's a
because there are
small
some women-
percentage, and men's
I mean, it's
men's
pretty
depression has
significant.
gone up too.
Men, but men have always been, because we have a burner performance on us. Now women are starting to
because men are
experience that.
weaker.
No.
Yeah, they
no.
They commit
No.
suicide at a higher rate. They're more depressed. Okay, they can't handle shit. If a girl tells them to fuck off or cheats on,
Yeah,
they go home
because
like a bitch.
Because men have a significantly harder life than women do.
Men have a harder life than women.
Absolutely, yes. In modern day
25%
society.
of all females have been sexually molested. It's like 8% for men. You telling me that men have a harder life?
Men, yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, and give me three ways.
Men absolutely. See, here's the thing. People, homeless people, drug addicts, people that are, suffering, right? Depression, sadness. It's overwhelmingly men. And the reason why is because with men, there aren't the same social safety nets that are there for women. For women, they're
What are
able
you talking about? Anyone that doesn't have a penny can get off the street right now. Camilla's
There
house.
are
You go to Psychology
far more-
Today. And if there's more
there
men,
are
if
far
there are more
more-
men on the
there
street
are far
depressed,
more-
that means they're weaker. They can't go get help.
Yeah,
Why
but,
can't they go see
but
a
what I'm
doctor?
saying is that
but a woman
with men have significantly less social resources than women do. And here's the thing also.
No, they don't.
Wait,
No, they don't.
now we're just.
Okay, give me one
Okay,
fact to back
let's move
that
to
up.
the next person. We can't even have a
you
discussion.
can't handle the facts.
No.
okay?
You don't
And
have
you
facts.
say women
You're-
deserve
you're-
that. Does
you're
that
lying.
include your mom?
You're
Does that
lying.
include your sister?
You're lying. That's the
No,
thing
I'm
is
not
that we
lying.
can't even
I'm
have an
right.
intellectual
You're wrong.
conversation.
I'm right. You're wrong.
All right.
Okay?
No, you
And
are
you're making a fool
absolutely
of
wrong.
yourself.
No,
and
you
you're making,
made a fool of
and
yourself.
all these little George Tate or Andrew Tate guys that think you're cool.
These are all facts, man.
He's a fucking
These
child
are
molester.
facts.
He runs women. He's a piece of shit.
These are facts. These are facts.
Huh?
What I'm saying is, we can't even have a discussion on facts because you're saying, oh, that's not true.
Well, 'cause I
if you
said
can't
name a
even,
fact and you
if you
can't
can't
name
even
one.
concede that there are far more social programs for women than men, then we can't even have a discussion because
I said that there's
you're-
plenty of social programs for men, and they don't take advantage
No,
of
they're
them because
not-
they're too
there are far
macho
more for
to
women.
swallow their fucking pride and say,
there's
"Doc, I
there's
need
far
help.
more
I'm
for
fucking
women,
dead."
and like I said before, men have live a significantly harder than women do because women are able to be a housewife if they want. They can to the workforce. They have more ability
So they
to
deserve
do
less.
what they want to do.
They deserve less. Then.
Within the confinements of a relationship, you must be skeptical. Yes.
Skeptical. You're saying they deserve less.
Yeah, and then you
so you're
mentioned
spitting
the whole-
on women is what you're doing.
Okay.
Every woman that walks by, you deserve less. Because
Look, man, if you
I'm
want to be a
man
social
and
justice
you're a
warrior, that's
woman.
fantastic. But let's get to the next person.
Okay, right. I know you can't take what I'm saying anymore.
No, because you're just virtue signaling at this point.
I'm not virtue signaling.
You
You're
are.
the one virtue signaling.
You're
the one
virtue
trying to
signaling
get
at this point.
attention. You're the next.
You're
Andrew
virtue
Tate.
signaling at this
and
point.
in the end, women are going to win.
Okay, we'll bring on the next person.
Yeah, I
Thank you
know.
for your
Bye.
time.
Bye.
Thank you for your time. Who's up next? And that's progressive talk right there. The nuclear family is the backbone of any society. Can't even concede to that, then it is what it is. All
Hello?
right, what's up?
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. I'm Dominic. So I strongly disagree
Okay.
with your belief that America is going down based off feminists.
Okay.
What? I think America's going down for other reasons. I mean, happy wife, happy life. I mean,
Yeah, it's more like happy king, happy kingdom.
Yeah.
Because the reality is that men are supposed to lead, women are supposed to follow. And quite frankly, if the woman's in the leadership role, she's going to lead the relationship to the end. That's what it comes down to. Now, if you want to say, oh yeah, men and women are equal and have this egalitarian mindset, that's fine. But simply put, women don't build society. Contrary to what people like that guy was saying, like women are entering science and technology and intelligence agencies. The reality is men still dominate these fields.
what about corporate? What about corporate America? I know that women are rising in employment in terms of banking, investing. I mean,
Sure, but I mean, women they are graduating college at a higher rate, and they are entering these professional roles. But the reality is that the infrastructure that allows you to live a first world life is dominated and controlled by men mostly.
So you actually believe that America's going down based off of feminists and women leading their relationship?
Well, there's a
into an end?
multitude. It's not just feminism. There's a multitude of different reasons why the United States has been declining. Feminism is just one part of it, but there's multiple. I'm not saying that's the only one.
But so women shouldn't have rights. Women shouldn't have.
I never said that.
Well, I mean, what you're saying is that
I'm saying they're not equal to men, and the reality is they're just not at all.
they're not equal to men. I mean,
No, they're not.
Like in what way? I mean, I know physically they're not equal to men.
Yes.
But like
we are inherently not equal. Just off of what you just said right there, that proves my point.
Really, in terms of what you say, knowledge and intelligence, you really think that women aren't equal?
Well, in general, I mean, men tend to have higher IQs. Most geniuses are men. But at the same time, most idiots are also men, and men have lower IQ. So we dominate both spectrums on the scale of excellence and media. But, you know, men, women are inherently different. I think this egalitarian mindset where men and women are equal is a big problem why we have the situation that we have.
I'm just curious.
And I would take it a step further. I would argue that women don't want you to think that they're equal. Women are not attracted to their equal. They're attracted to a superior.
If we were to go on a college campus right now.
I've done that before.
Yeah, I've seen your videos, right?
Yeah.
I think that I don't think women I don't think women should have it less. I think right now I believe in equality, right? But on a scale, women are rising in certain fields, right? Let's just say not in the blue collar workforce, but in the white collar workforce, right? I mean, we could just look at the numbers in Bank of America.
Yeah, like
right?
the useless jobs, if we're going to be honest.
Useless.
They dominate the useless jobs.
So you think banking, investing, engineering are useless jobs in terms of infrastructure?
Engineering is dominated by men. I respect the plumbers, the power linemen, the electricians, the guys that do that control the sewage, the sanitation. I respect them far more than some woman in corporate. I respect the guys that do the light poles, all that stuff, because that's what keeps the country running. And this is absolutely dominated by men. Women don't do these types of jobs. Women want air-conditioned jobs where they can hang out and type on a computer and, you know.
No, I believe that women don't want those types of jobs, but they do contribute a significant part of, let's just say, America's economy. Just
sure, but they don't contribute to the same level that men do.
All right, well, agree, disagree. Well, it was great talking to you.
Sure, no problem. Good discussion. All right, who's up next? Nobody? Oh, man, people are getting... I guess people are terrified to come on up, man. I don't bite, man. I'll talk with liberals. It's no problem. You guys saw the guy before. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. So, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I see you supporting on the side. Yeah. Oh, nice to meet you, Alejandro. Yeah. Trying. What's up?
What's up, man? I mean, I obviously believe that, like, everyone should be treated equally, but, like, obviously I love learning other people's opinions. Like,
sure.
I mean, for all the women out there, I mean, I'm on your side, but I'm just wondering, like, what do you think women deserve less of? Is that, like, in terms of jobs, like, in terms of payment, or in terms of, like, the household situation? I'm just curious.
When I say that, I'm speaking from the perspective of a man getting in a relationship with a woman being highly skeptical of her.
Okay.
So I think I should be giving women less upfront in a relationship and less attention, time, and resources, and make them earn their keep.
What was that? Could you say that last part again?
They have to earn their keep.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, I completely understand. I was wanted to ask a question because no one was coming
No problem.
up. But thank you, man.
No problem. All right, who's up next? Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, this is better than After Hours, isn't it? All right, who else is up? I see that there's some people in the back that I've seen some women pass by. You know what's interesting, right? Because I'll set this table up and I'll say, look, you know, ladies, you're welcome to come in and debate me and tell me why you deserve more. But they never do. Or if they do come up, they can't articulate their points. Instead, they attack me and say, oh, you're gay, or who hurt you, or some other crap like that. Or, you know, be like the other guy and say the nuclear family is not the backbone of a society. You know, that's just, you know, liberal propaganda garbage. You know, obviously, when the nuclear family was at its strongest, this country was at its strongest. And as the nuclear family has receded, the country's been going down, right? And we're hoping that immigrants are going to come in and replace that, and that's just a problem because they don't come in and share identity. Who's up next? Don't worry, guys, I don't bite. You can come in, ask a question, maybe if you agree, disagree, whatever it may be. Hey, what's up?
How we doing?
How are you?
So, yeah, thank you. So it's not really to prove you wrong. I think just where we are in society, I think a two-person income, you know, takes you further in life than just one person having an income. Now, I do agree with a nuclear, you know, that being the relationships.
Yeah, so with the two-person income thing, I think that when I say that feminism is a direct cause of a lot of the problems,
Right.
feminism is a big part of the reason why we need 2 incomes to survive nowadays. Because when women enter the workforce, they effectively double the workforce. When you double the workforce, the employers don't have to pay you the same wage, right? Because they're like, oh, we have double the employees, like we can go and just pay you less. And that has been a significant reason why, inflation is through the roof. Women are entering the workforce. You need 2 incomes to make a living nowadays.
Right.
And I think that's a consequence of feminism.
I mean, it's a consequence of links too, I think.
Sure. But
wasn't
feminism
solely,
was a significant
I think
contributor.
too, since nobody coming up here, like I said, I really wasn't to prove you wrong.
Sure.
My wife, I want to shout her out because she's, a woman that we got 2 kids. She works her job and she also runs her own business while I run my own business. So, and she comes home and cooks and takes care of the family as, the relationship that you're talking about. But, it's not to hold women back as well, right? They could do both if they...
Very rarely.
Well,
very rarely.
Why is that?
Well, if women are in a position where they're contributing half, not all. I mean, clearly you got a wife that does something different.
I mean, there's many of them, but I think, my fault to cut you off though, but again, not to even go back and forth with you, it's more of a, that's the problem, is that women need to know that they honestly are the shit. There's nothing better than women. If you don't agree with that statement, there's a problem. But again, not to say
thinking.
that they can't do both, but I'm saying that we got to big up the women. You
Here's
can't
the thing.
just
just because they can doesn't mean they will. And I would argue.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. So why is that? Why are they not doing what every woman could do? I mean,
because a lot of women feel it insulting to go to day, bring income in. And then have to go ahead and do a majority of the chores. Her man is also a half-time contributor, so that's kind of what it is. Now, are there some women out there?
You got weak men out here too, and you got a lot of women allowing weak men to influence their lifestyles and influence their life too. So
I don't understand. I don't understand.
You understand weak men?
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that I'm talking about the women. Like most of them are not going to want to work a job and then come back and have traditional house duties. Like most women are not going to be okay with that.
Correct. Because they got weak men,
and that's
all I'm saying.
No, I'm saying I don't think they should work at all. Is my point.
Well, that too, yeah. But if a woman wants to have her own goals, and why wouldn't she do it just because she doesn't have to? Saying she still can do that.
Now, and here's another big pill for people. Women are not as ambitious as men think they are. Most of them are not that ambitious. Most of them, if they could, would prefer to stay home and take care of the family. But the problem is that they don't really figure this out until later on in life. They're sold the dream of go to school, get education, get a job. But at some point, they start to realize this was all a lie and a scam. So a lot of women are not as ambitious as men think they are. They're just not like us. They're not programmed like us. They don't have the same proclivity for conquering and success like us. This is why all revolutions were led by men and never women. Women follow, men lead.
Like I said, I mean, those are all different arguments.
Sure.
A lot of truth to them.
Yeah, I mean, look, are there some women out there that are ambitious?
Do whatever they set their
sure.
mind to, just like anybody,
But the reality is, the majority of women are not ambitious.
Like, right. Like I said, it wasn't even to come up here. And,
no worries, no worries.
Nobody's coming up here, so
all good.
At the end of the day, every guy here, obviously, we love women, so I mean, that should be.
I see. Let's formulate a line. If people are, people are terrified. Man, nobody. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
What's up?
How you doing, man? My name's Andreas. I just want to say I appreciate everything you're doing, bro. Bringing some real light into this culture. I'm a product of exactly what you're talking about. My mother and my father, we had a beautiful family. And my mom just came up, multi-millionaire in the lending industry, and made my dad actually, before 9/11, he said, you know what? I'm making so much money. Why don't you just stay home? Why don't you just do all this stuff? Do some investment with real estate? He did. 9/11 happened. So he's like, I don't want near New York. She took the household, made it what it was, multi-millions. What happened in 2008? It all crashed.
Yeah.
So she expected my dad to come back up to the level that she was at. It didn't happen. And this is in 2008. And this has been creeping on for 20 years. This is why somebody like you and me are speaking about this and making sure that it's known, because I feel like we live in a bubble where like OnlyFans is just rampant. Do we not like see what's going on? Am I the only one? Like in a society we accept this, like it's like normal. I don't know what you think about that, but
I mean, there's a whole bunch of different problems. I mean, what you described, did your mom end up divorcing your dad?
yeah, they did 25 years, and
Yeah.
now she's with a really, really well-off guy. She said she didn't want to be alone no more.
Yeah, and you know, that story actually more indicative of what typically goes on, because another individual came up earlier and said, oh, well, you know, my dad, you know, put my mom through school and she made more money, and now, you know, they're kind of splitting the bills and it's working out. But the reality is, like,
That's
you
not
know,
reality.
that happens most of the time where, you know, if the woman ends up earning more than the guy,
Much
it's just
more.
a matter of time until the relationship's going to end. And I've said this before, women get mad when I say this, but men will destroy their happiness for their family. Women will destroy their family for their happiness.
And that's exactly what happened. So
Yeah.
like, I'm a 30-year-old
They
man.
initiate 80-90% of the divorces.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, like, that's why I think it's really funny, the statistics of OnlyFans. The men that are watching are 90% Caucasian men who are married.
Yeah.
So, like, there's something going on. And us opening up our apps, like, on Instagram, like, seeing OnlyFans it's so rampant. I don't know if you guys, like, understand what's happening, but there's going to be such a big documentary in this, like, 20 years from now, about how we let prostitution be a legalized thing.
Yeah, I mean,
just think it's,
the
like,
other
funny.
thing, too, that's important for guys to realize is, like, you know, a lot of guys are in sexless marriages that are married. Their wife doesn't respect them. She gets fat. She gets rude. She doesn't listen to him anymore.
I completely agree.
You know, it just doesn't. Marriage, unfortunately, no longer benefits men, you know, and that's a sad reality, right? I don't think guys should be getting married, especially with the state involved in age. Because, quite frankly, you have skin in the game a lot of the times. So, yeah. But no, I'm glad that someone else sees the light here.
Nah, man, we watching, we supporting, bro. Just want to shout out, all right?
Thank you, man.
All right, man. Have a good one, man.
Appreciate it. Take it easy. Who's up next? We got a lot of people here, man. We got like what? Like I can't even see.
I don't care what they say about OnlyFans. That shit makes the world turn round.
Yo, people need Jesus, baby.
Yeah.
We need Jesus out here, man.
I
Keep doing
think,
your thing, bro.
yeah, thank you.
At the end of the day, man, Jesus doesn't matter what religion you in.
Yeah.
We all know the man did great things.
Yeah, I think pornography is one of the worst things to ever come through modern society. I think it's one of the most destructive things that we've legalized. Alcohol, drugs, and pornography are literally gambling as well. But pornography is one of the most pernicious things in society that we currently allow. Yeah, so shout out to, you know, DeSantis for banning it. Who's up next? Who's up next? Man, we got a lot of people here, man, but people are terrified. This is great. I don't bite, man. So I got a cute little dog. He doesn't even bark. He don't bite either. So. Anybody else? Why feminism is bad? Sure.
I just got a question,
Welcome.
really.
Sure.
So you say women deserves less, right?
Yes, I think men need to enter relationships with healthy skepticism.
Okay, so my question for you, do you feel that your mom that brought you in this world deserves less?
My mom deserves less?
I'm asking you, do you feel your mom is a woman, she brought you in this earth?
When she first met my dad?
No, right now, do you feel your mom deserves less?
Yeah, just get in line, man, and you can go ahead and get your
That's
thing.
all my question is, though. That's
yeah,
all.
because here's the thing. I said at the beginning, it's healthy skepticism from the beginning. So my mom has been with my dad for 30 plus years. Are you talking about she deserves less now or back then? I don't. What's your?
No, just.
I just want some
it's just a
context to the question. Well,
does your
clearly now,
mom-
no, because she's proven herself over all these years. But what I'm saying is going back to because remember, you asked me, what do you mean by that? I defined it. Healthy skepticism from the beginning of the relationship. Then you went to me about my mom. My mom has been in the relationship for 30 plus years, so she's built a healthy amount of equity with my father. So clearly she wouldn't need to deserve less because she's proven herself. So that's why there's a disconnect there with your question.
Okay.
Hey, you can come on the mic instead of just yelling from the side if you want. Oh, he doesn't want to be on camera. Okay.
I got a simple question real quick.
Sure.
Do you fuck with Donald Trump?
Of course. Yeah.
Who do you want the next president to be?
Man.
If you had an opinion of who?
Well, we don't know who's going to run. I think J.D. Vance probably going to make a run, or maybe Vivek. On the Democratic side, they're in shambles. I don't know who's going to run on that side. They're even talking about Stephen A. Smith running, which is ridiculous, but the Democratic Party is absolutely cooked. They've lost the young men. And, yeah, I mean, I like Trump. I mean, obviously some of his policies I disagree with, like for his support for Israel, for example. I don't like that. The foreign policy could do some working, but in general.
What's your opinion on Diddy? Why won't they show a video of him in court?
So I was actually at the trial for a couple of weeks. All the witnesses haven't went through, so there is quite a bit of evidence, but there are some things there that make me question the witnesses too.
You think he's fucked, or you think he's gonna get through it?
When the feds come for you, it's not a good time. And then, you know, it's obviously Southern District of New York, very good prosecutor's office. You know, they have a lot of witnesses. They're still not through. The trial's going to go into July. So, you know, I'm just going to wait until we have all the evidence and go from there. But right now, I would say that his defense team has been doing a decent job of cross-examining witnesses.
Of course. Hell yeah, bro. That's all I had to ask.
No worries.
I might think of some more shit.
No worries. Cool. We could diversify a lit. We could talk politics and feminism and Israel or foreign policy, whatever you guys want. Who's up next? What's up, man? How are you?
What's good? What's going on with the Tates right now? I heard they're like back in trouble with the UK.
I think right now they're in Romania. Obviously, it's bullshit. Like, you know, look, I know Andrew and Tristan very well. These guys don't need to human traffic or grape women at all. You know, like, it's preposterous. So, oh, you disagree? No. They didn't get convicted of anything. You're wrong. What they get convicted of in what court? Oh, okay. What did they get convicted and when? That's the problem. You don't know. They never got convicted of anything. They didn't get convicted of anything.
I think you should take my spot.
So, no. I just love it when hecklers talk from the side and they don't know what they're talking about and they're saying they got convicted. Like, the reality is they got arrested, right? And they still haven't had a trial and they haven't been convicted of anything. So the real reason they're targeting them is because they have an enormous influence, a majority of young men, and when you tell the truth about certain topics, whether it's feminism, Israel, what's going on in the world, the corporations, they're going to try to silence you. Your ability to speak freely is 100% contingent upon your influence. I mean, I've dealt with the censorship. A lot of my good friends have been censored. Sneeko was just here. They censored him. Nick Fuentes, they censor him. They censor Andrew Tate. So they only censor you when you tell the truth. They don't censor you when you're saying a bunch of bullshit lies.
Who do you like, John Jones or Tom Aspinall?
Oh, I'm not a UFC guy, man, so I'm sorry, yeah. I don't watch sports. So, anybody else? But yeah, to finish your question, bro, with the Tates, man, you know, like I said before, it's all lawfare. Lawfare. They did it with Trump. They did it with the Tates. It's just a common tactic whenever people end up having a lot of influence and they don't like what they got to say.
Makes sense.
You know?
All right, thank you very much.
No worries. Who else? Damn, man, the people are scared to get on the camera, huh? God damn. We got like a bunch of people here. We got like 50, 60 people here, man. Yeah.
All right, man.
Go ahead.
All right, hold on. Give me a second.
Guys, we can talk feminism. We can talk, sure. Oh, is this the first lady? Okay. Welcome. Thank you for being brave.
What do you mean by less?
I mean, men need to enter relationships with women with healthy skepticism and assume they deserve less.
But shouldn't that just be a standard regardless?
Well, that's actually a very good point. The problem is most men don't know that.
But I think that goes for both parties, though. I mean, there should be a healthy level of skepticism, understanding that everybody has a standard on what they would accept and what they don't.
Yeah, the problem is that with women, that's kind of taught and reinforced and natural. With men, it's not.
What is the skepticism?
Men are taught to pedestalize women no matter what.
They're taught to what?
men are taught to pedestalize women no matter what.
Okay.
Versus women typically don't need to be taught to be skeptical in the beginning of a relationship. Women are naturally skeptical because you guys are the more vulnerable sex.
Okay.
So you guys have to
Physically.
approach for many different ways.
Okay. So you're saying that men have not been instilled in them to be more skeptical?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you think they have lower standards?
Well, it's not that they have lower standards. Well, some might have lower standards for sure.
Sure.
Some might even understand that they should have standards, and some might not necessarily vocalize their standards out of fear of being looked at as a misogynist or a sexist or some other pejorative term for being rational.
So you think that operating within that system, there's that like innate fear of being judged because they don't have that skepticism? Or where do you think that comes from more so is my question?
Because we live in a gynocentric society. So since we live in a gynocentric society, the female way of thinking typically prevails. The masculine way of thinking is looked at as demonic and evil. You know,
What
terms
do you
like,
mean demonic and evil?
for example, I find it interesting that feminists always say that the patriarchy is evil, when in reality the patriarchy is what allows them to be feminists in the first place.
Do you think the patriarchy harms men?
I would argue the patriarchy is more beneficial to women than it is to men,
How so?
because a minority of men run the patriarchy versus a majority don't, versus women.
Don't they reinforce it though, the majority of it?
Excuse me?
So it's set by the minority of men, let's say, but then
Yes.
don't the majority reinforce it? So it creates this like big system, not just from one subset of people. That's why it's a system. Because if it was just like 5 people, how would that be ingrained within society? You would kind of need a large group of people to be echoing each other.
I don't really understand. What I'm trying to say is that men, right, are not really allowed to put out their standards or their worldviews when it comes to women because it's considered taboo and misogynistic. But on the other hand, women
But
are
in what
allowed to
way,
put
though?
out. What do you mean in what way?
I mean, a man can say like,
Sure, I'll
I
give you an example.
prefer-
If I say women need to obey men, a lot of women would look at me and say, you're a misogynist. That's not true. That's evil. That's bad. That's wrong. But if I were to say, we need to champion women and treat them like queens, everyone would cheer. Just like the other guy was trying to simp earlier saying this stuff. So the reality is we can't be critical of women. I find it interesting that the word misogyny is widely used, but no one even knows what misandry means.
But what do you mean we can't be critical of women? Wouldn't you say that both sexes are always being criticized for anything? Because I mean, women are being held to the physical esteem of like their looks and have to be submissive. So they are being criticized because you're saying that.
I would argue they're not taught to be submissive. If anything, they're made fun of for being submissive. One of the terms that you guys use to shame each other is calling each other's pick me.
Right, because
Women are demonized for following a man's lead and
but so
being.
are men like simps, which are in essence the same essence. Like it's the same thing, just for different genders.
Well, here's the difference. When women simp on men, the man respects that woman and cherishes that. When men simp on women, they don't reciprocate. Because the problem is that women get simped on their entire life and don't know what that means, so they don't appreciate it. On the other hand, as a man, we might not get our first kiss until we're 20. So when a woman simps on us, we actually appreciate it and treat her well. That's the difference. Women don't know how to behave when they get validation.
What do you mean women don't know how to behave? You don't think they appreciate it?
No, they don't at all.
Well, what if
And
it's
you can
just
blame Instagram for that.
unwarranted? But so, what if it's unwarranted? I mean, how would you feel? Switch the dynamic where someone is pursuing you, but you're just not interested, and this person is seen as a simp, but like you just don't want it. Like, are you a bad person for not reciprocating that because you just didn't want that?
Well, my argument is simply that women, right, have a privilege where they have a bunch of men approaching them, so they don't value male attention to the same that men value female attention. Right?
That's a scarcity thing, but that's anything.
No, not really.
But if you get something of so little, the little you get is going to be valued. But this is like market.
Okay, who
mindset,
has a
though.
better? Let me ask you this then. If I took a self-made millionaire and I took a trust fund baby, both of them earned one earned their million at 18 years old, and the other one earned their million at 38 years old.
Sure.
Who's going to have a better appreciation for the dollar? Who's going to understand the value of a dollar better? The trust fund baby that got it at 18 or the person that earned it at 38?
But you from the outside can make that description, but you don't know what internally that person is
Can you please answer the
thinking.
question so I can kind of
I mean, I know you want me to say that it'll be the person that earned it, of course.
Yes.
Because we can agree on that, but again, we're not in those positions to say that.
But here's the thing. That's why it's perfectly analogous. The reason why is because men are self-made millionaires. Women are effectively trust fund babies. At 18 years old, a woman is able to maneuver and be around higher status men simply for existing. Men are not allowed to be around higher status men unless they perform to be in that position. So what I'm trying to say is that women are in a privileged position where all the attention comes to them and they pick. Men, we're not in that position.
Okay. Well, my thing is just, I just wanted to ask you about this. I wasn't here to actually try to fight you on anything.
No
but,
problem.
you know, great for you opening up the floor and discussion.
Yeah, sure. No worries. Yeah, and just to kind of like explain that to everybody, when I make the point that, women don't value validation is because they get it all the time. By the time a woman hits puberty, she's getting hit on by men all the time. The average woman by the time she's 21 years old has been approached like 70,000 times. Versus men, you might get approached by a girl 10, 20 times in your lifetime, if that, right? For the average guy at least. So typically, what I mean by this is women simply just don't appreciate male attention the same way that men appreciate female attention. We're far more likely to appreciate women doing right by us.
Free Pooh Shiesty. How you doing?
Hey.
You said that we could get into international talk, right?
Sure.
So I've listened to your talk about Israel and Zionism and whatnot, but I want to take a different angle.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You're Yemeni background, right?
No, my family's from Sudan.
From Sudan?
Yeah.
Okay. Question is, what do you think about the Houthis looking outside in and how they're affecting the war? Because I've listened to your stance on Israel.
Yeah.
And Zionism.
Sure.
So I
how
get
do you
that.
want me
We don't need to get into that, but how they're acting in response to it, being a proxy of Iran and doing what they're doing and affecting world trade and XYZ. Do you agree or disagree with what's happening?
Do I agree or disagree with what they're doing?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it matters if I agree or disagree, but I understand.
No, but I want to hear, you have like an opinion on a lot of different matters. So what's your opinion on that?
My thing is I simply understand why they're doing what they're doing, right?
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, can you elaborate?
On why they're doing what they're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're trying to create an enormous amount of pressure on Israel economically.
But it's not working, right?
Well, it was working for a long time.
Is it
That's why we had to intervene. It was working, yes.
It's not working.
When they were boarding the ships and they were sending the rockets in.
Yeah, but you're bombing ships that are affecting trade.
They weren't bombing ships.
Attacking ships. They're sending missiles to ships that are going through their ports.
They were stealing ships. Yep, they were pirating ships and obviously affecting international trade. But that was creating quite a bit of problems for Israel financially. They were boarding ships that had financial
Not for Israel,
interests with
for the world.
I'm sorry?
It's for the world.
Of course, but it hurt Israel the most.
How
That's
so?
why it's to shut down one of their ports, actually, as a matter of fact.
How so?
It literally hurt.
How did
Israel's
it,
not
how
doing
did
that
it hurt
great
Israel the
economically
most?
right now.
No, you said any topic goes. You said Israel goes.
Yeah.
So how did it affect
they're not
Israel?
They're not doing well economically right now.
Who's not?
Israel.
It's not because of the Houthis. It's because.
Well, that's a component.
It's because their workers had to go to reserve service and other things like that.
Let me.
Obviously,
do you want me to?
Tourism is down because people are scared to go there.
For sure. So
right?
their economy is hurting.
Right.
That
but
is precisely why they're doing what they're
Houthis?
doing. I'm not here to tell you that it's right or wrong. I'm just simply telling you what they're doing.
Your opinion, though, because you have an opinion on a lot of things.
This is a fact.
You have opinion on women. You have opinion on a lot of things, right? So what's your opinion in there?
Again,
you have opinion on Zionists. You have opinion on Jews. You have opinion
Israel's
on Netanyahu.
problematic country.
Okay, so what's your opinion on the Houthis?
Again, I just told you.
Do you agree or disagree?
I understand.
Do you agree or disagree with what they're doing?
I understand.
Don't be
I don't have to
political
agree
about
or
it.
disagree.
Really?
That's really irrelevant. I understand.
You understand?
I understand, yes.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Okay, do you actually have a position or you just wanted to get my...
On the matter?
Yeah.
I have a position, yeah.
Yeah, what's your position then?
I think if a group of people come into someone else's land and rape and torture and burn, they have a right to defend themselves.
Okay.
I also understand the other side.
So killing 100,000 plus innocent people is defending yourself?
Listen, when World War II happened, there was a lot of innocent deaths also, so we can't really take that angle. I agree there's innocent deaths. In war, there's innocent deaths. But the easy way, in my opinion, to end it, now that America's involved and you have the world looking at it, is to return the hostages first. And then you open dialect. Then you open dialect.
Okay, do you think
that's
Netanyahu
my
actually cares?
opinion.
Okay, so here's the thing. number one, a war is fought between two capable militaries. Okay.
Really?
The IDF.
Really?
The IDF is a military, a formalized military that gets supported by us.
All right.
Okay. And they're killing.
Hamas is supported by Iran. They had like endless amount of rockets, endless amount of ammunition.
They're a ragtag militia
that can go in
that
one day and kill over 1,000 people. That's a lot of deaths.
Well, here's the thing. So let's talk facts, right?
Sure.
Because you're putting a lot of Israeli propaganda out there. So let's
no,
kinda go
I'm not.
through
I'm
this.
not speaking propaganda.
Let's go through
I
this.
just wanted your opinion on the Houthis,
No,
and you want to turn it to
let's
Israel.
go through this.
Sure.
So, do you think Netanyahu actually wants the hostages back? Does he care?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
But there are political motives. I agree with you. But
Sure.
yeah, he wants the hostages back.
Are you aware of the fact that on October 10th, a deal was put in place to get all the hostages back in return for them not invading Gaza?
If you can't put the deal in front of me so we can look at it together, then it doesn't matter.
No.
It's irrelevant.
See, here's the thing. And this
because
is what
because
many-
there's been over 300 deals that have been put in front of both parties.
I'm telling you, on or about October 10th, this was reported by Israeli media, Haaretz.
Okay.
Okay. And this is what a lot of Israelis don't know and Zionists don't know. There was a deal put. Yeah, okay. So a deal was put forward saying, hey, look, we will go ahead and give all the hostages back in exchange that you do not blow up and attack and invade Gaza. And what did Netanyahu do? He refused. Now, here's the other thing.
Bro.
You mentioned that they killed, what, 2,000? Or 1,300? No, this is true.
Whatever
it's
the
true.
whatever the
You
number.
want to know how I know it's true? No. Here's the other thing, too. Here's the reason why. That's true. That comes from Israeli media. That comes from Israeli media, by the way. Your own country put it out. That comes from your own media. Now, here's the other thing as well that's
What's up?
interesting.
Yeah.
You said that thousands were killed, right?
Correct.
Okay. Are you aware that the Hannibal Directive was activated on that day?
What's the Hannibal Directive?
Sure. I'd be happy to explain.
Sure.
The Hannibal Directive is a directive where Israeli military basically kills their own civilians to
come on.
ensure. Hold on. See, now they don't like the facts. They don't like the facts.
Yeah, so pull it up.
They don't like the
Pull
facts.
it up.
Okay.
Pull it up.
Hold on. I'll pull it up.
Pull it up.
I'll pull it up.
Pull it up.
Wait, but hold on a second. Documentation beats conversation.
Pull it up.
Anybody can say shit. Facts versus theory.
Pull it up, yeah.
Facts. Sit down, listen. Sit down, let's all sit down, have documents, proven documents with information, and then you can discuss a debate. He said, she said, my great grandma said it's all opinions. They can shove it up
All right,
someone's ass.
who speaks Hebrew here?
Convert it. ChatGPT. You can translate it.
No. I'm gonna play it.
It takes a millisecond.
I'm gonna play it in your language for you.
I don't speak Hebrew. I don't understand Hebrew.
Oh, you don't?
Why is it my language? Just because I like Israel. It's not
So,
my language.
I have a video right
I'm
here.
American.
I have a video
There's
right here.
American hostages
Oh,
there.
see,
And
that's
you're
the
American.
problem.
You're sitting here and
That's
you're
the
okay with
problem.
it. It's crazy.
So here's it. No. I never said I was
No.
okay with it. I'm saying.
Should the hostages be released?
Yes. Here's the thing.
Should the
Here's the
hostages?
difference.
Should the hostages be released?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
we agree. Finally, we can agree. That's
No,
it.
but here's the problem, right? The issue is that Israelis simply don't value Palestinian life.
Hold on a second.
That's
Hold on a second.
Because
That's not
you guys
true.
don't.
Jews
Because
and
you guys have killed
Palestinians
100,000
live in
plus. 100,000 plus.
There's Jewish
We know
Palestinians.
50,000 that have been identified. That we know that there's a bunch in the rubble that are missing.
That's not true.
Now,
bro.
here's the other thing as well.
And no,
Let's go back to the Hannibal
no
Directive.
army will go there
Let's
and
go
drop
back.
leaflets saying, "Hey,
Let's go
we're
back.
about to come here,"
And they bombed it
and
anyway.
drop a bomb.
And they bomb it
They should
anyway.
leave.
Where
So
do
anyway.
you get the numbers that 100,000 plus were killed?
Okay, hold on a second.
Okay.
Even if 100,000 people were killed. Hold on. Even if 100, let's agree.
We know.
Hold
We
on a second, hold on a
have
second. Let's have a conversation.
literally data.
If 100,000.
And this is funny because they're all are jumbling. Now they're going crazy. Now look, you can see.
100,000.
Shut it down.
No,
Shut
no,
it
no,
down.
don't shut it down.
So
This is good.
here's the
This is
thing.
good. This is amazing.
Let me
Listen.
finish my point. Let me finish
Go
my
ahead,
point.
finish.
Right? Because it's interesting that I mentioned the Hannibal Directive. Nobody knew what
Yeah,
it
but
was.
what is it? Pull it up.
I just explained it to you.
Pull it up.
It is.
Pull it up.
I have the video right here.
Play it.
Okay.
English.
Do you know?
English.
Do you know who
Okay, play it
Yoav
in
Golan
English.
is? Do you know who Yoav Golan is?
Play it in English.
Do you know who Yoav Golan is?
Everyone here speaks English.
Okay, but the problem is that the interview was done in Hebrew in Israel.
So translate it. Or try to translate it
There's
one.
captions right here. You want to look at the video?
Perfect.
Here, come look at it yourself. Come look at it
What
yourself.
is the purpose of the video so we understand? So I understand what the video's about.
So they interviewed him. See, this is the problem. You guys don't even know. You don't even know. You're here arguing a point that you don't even know. You don't know what the Hannibal Directive is.
I asked you.
Yeah.
I asked you what it is.
I just explained it. I'm telling you, it's when they kill their own civilians to evade them being captured by Palestinian militia groups, to evade hostage negotiations so that they don't have to release 1,000 Palestinians who are 1 Israeli like they did with Elad Lot. Now, with that said, Yoav Gallant, Your defense minister, okay, your guy you're basically your Secretary of Defense, right? Equivalent. He admitted on an interview that the Hannibal Directive was activated on October 7th, and it should have been activated in other areas. That is why Apache helicopters killed a bunch of the concert goers. That's why we know that they shot tanks into the kibbutzes. They shot tank rounds.
Okay, so here it says the Hannibal
Let me
Directive.
finish.
The Hannibal Directive, also translated as Hannibal Procedure or Hannibal Protocol, is the name of a controversial procedure used by the IDF to prevent the capture of Israeli soldiers by enemy forces. What's wrong with that? Who wants their soldiers captured?
No.
That's what it says here.
They killed civilians as well, is my point.
They don't
On
kill-
October
it-
7th, they
it-
killed civilians.
It says they only kill soldiers.
No, they kill civilians as well. And also,
to prevent soldiers from being captured.
No. They killed civilians. And also keep in mind that there's mandatory military service in Israel.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
effectively, they shoot at anyone
but
that's going to be captured.
On a
now
day-
again,
I got a question for you.
Now,
You
with
met
that
Hannibal
said-
Schmannibal.
Okay, this guy,
You can say
just
something.
wait in line. So
why,
anyway,
why,
hold on.
Why are Jews
hold on,
and,
hold on,
and Palestinians and Arabs
Let's
all fighting
stick-
for a small piece of land?
Let's stick to the
The
topic
Arabs
at
have
hand.
so much land, brother.
Let's stick to land. Let's stick to the conversation because first, right?
Like,
First,
why
you made
fight
the
for a small
accusation
piece of
saying,
land? Why fuck with
bro,
the
bro,
Jews?
let him
Wait,
be on the
wait,
mic, okay?
wait. So
you guys got to control yourselves.
Okay,
one person on the
I'm
mic
just
at a
standing
time.
here.
So again, you made the claim
that
a bunch of hostages were kidnapped, which is true.
Yeah.
And you made the claim that they just need to bring the hostages back. And I told you on or about October 10th.
I said release the hostages.
Yes,
yeah.
agreed.
It's a good
They were
start
willing to release the
communication.
hostages, give them all back in return in exchange for them not invading Gaza and bombing Gaza.
I don't believe
Then-
that. I don't
then-
believe that.
Hold on. Let me finish my point.
Yeah,
Let me
go-
finish my
go
point.
ahead.
Then that's fine. You can say what you want to say.
No, but you
That's fine.
Pull it up.
So anyway, with that said,
Pull it
with
up.
that said, right? Great.
Pull it up.
Anyway, so with that said, right? The Hannibal Directive
Yeah.
was activated on that day. And I told you what the Hannibal
Because
Directive is.
Who wants any
Now-
of their soldiers to be captured?
But the point is, the reason
And,
why I
and
made
there's
that
going to be
argument-
innocent lives on both
Let me
sides.
tell
Like,
you
who
why I
wants
made
their
that
soldiers to be
argument.
captured?
Because you made the argument saying they killed 1,000 plus Israelis, and I'm saying, well, the IDF
I
killed a
said
lot
they,
of Israelis.
I said they killed.
And then on top
wait,
of that,
wait.
And then on top
wait,
of that,
I said they
hold
killed
on, you made that-
1,000
you made the
plus
assertion.
civilians. They weren't all Israelis.
No.
There was people from Thailand that were killed.
Of course.
Muslims
Yes,
that were
I understand.
killed.
I understand.
Jews that, no, so keep
I understand.
It.
But
Americans
again,
that were killed.
I understand
They
that, but the point is
indiscriminately
that
killed.
people were being killed.
Indiscriminately.
People were being killed
Indiscriminately.
by both the IDF
Bro,
and Hamas.
If you go
both
look,
of them.
If you go look at
Both
Gaza,
of them.
you have waterfront land.
Both of them were
They're
being
on
killed.
beaches.
Okay.
They have 5-star hotels.
That's not the
No
argument.
one wants to look at that.
That's not the argument.
On October
Again.
On October 6th.
See, this is great.
They were all chilling.
This is great.
On October 6th, they were all chilling, living their lives. There was no famine, nothing wrong.
Wait in line.
Yeah, get in
Wait in line, buddy.
On
Wait in
October
line. You're not a
6th,
mic.
Everything was fine. People had visas to go in and out of Israel to work. Things were fine.
Yep.
What happened? Yasser Arafat, when he died, left his wife with over $1 billion. The leaders of Hamas, $12 billion, who are now killed, all of them. What happens? When there's war, they get richer. The people of Gaza get poorer. And then the Jews look bad on the world stage. That's all that happens.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Humanitarian goes to the top.
See,
and the civilians suffer. I agree they're
we
suffering.
were talking about October 7th, and you just completely
I agree
deflected.
that they're suffering. Yeah, because when you go and say 1,000 Israelis got killed, that's not true. It was 1,000.
Okay,
people
let's say
that
people
died.
got killed.
Yeah.
The point I'm trying to
Muslims
make
died,
is,
bro.
Yeah.
You're Muslim.
But here's the thing.
Are you Muslim?
Hamas.
Are you Muslim?
That's irrelevant to the
Muslim,
conversation.
I'm Jewish.
That's irrelevant to the
Jews
conversation.
died. Muslims died.
Yes.
Christians died.
Yes. And
Americans
here's the thing.
died.
Here's the thing.
People died.
That's why I'm
People
critical
died.
of Israel.
People
okay.
died.
Now with that said, now here's
People
the thing.
died. Should
now,
Hamas
like I wanna
surrender? Yes or no?
Here's the thing.
Should Hamas surrender?
No. Now,
Why?
now here's the thing. Because here's.
So
look,
you also agree that they're freedom fighters?
No. Again,
They're
you
labeled-
are taking away.
They're labeled a terrorist organization.
Let me finish saying what I'm
and
saying.
They shouldn't surrender.
Let me finish
and
saying
you're
what
an
I'm saying.
American citizen.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
You should be ashamed of
You're
yourself.
see, you're just interrupting because
Okay,
you
go
don't want to
ahead.
have
Go
you
ahead.
brought up October 7th.
They're terrorists.
You brought up October 7th,
Okay.
and I was talking
You
to you
brought
about
it up.
No,
I brought up the Houthis.
No, you mentioned no,
You
because
decided
then you
to talk
said,
about
well,
October
no. You brought it up, and then I'm just
You
responding
asked
to
my
you.
stance.
Yes, and then you
I
talked
asked you
about
about the
October
Houthis.
7th. But here's the problem.
Completely different.
You guys make it as if it started on October 7th, and it never did. It started way before that, and the Zionist propaganda.
Yeah,
always goes off of October 7th, and on October 7th.
It started in 1949 when we got a
It started
state.
before that.
When we got a
It
Jewish
started
state.
before that.
Okay,
It started before that.
Okay.
It started before that. It started before that. You guys were killing people. Israel was founded upon terrorism.
There's killing.
Israel was founded upon terrorism.
Can you agree there's killing on both sides?
Again, of course there is.
There
of
is.
course there is. But here's the difference.
That's a fact of life.
I value both. Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, like I was saying, this guy just name calling.
The
Anyway,
Jews corrupted their whole
no,
holy
him,
books.
the
You
other
don't
guy
get-
over there, the old guy.
The
So
Jews
the point I'm
corrupted
trying to
their-
make is, I talked about October 7th, and I'm telling you
Bro,
that the died on that day
Americans came
were
here
not just
and-
killed by
and fucking
Hamas.
killed all
That's
Native
my
Americans.
point.
Are we talking about?
Okay.
You're talking about Native Americans.
Look, bro, I'm
You're
telling you.
talking about settlers.
I'm telling.
The Jewish people came.
Yeah, settlements that are illegal.
The Jewish
Settlements
people
that are
came,
illegal.
They built Tel Aviv into what it is today, and all of a sudden they want it back. Like, bro, come on.
Hold on.
mandate had a
Hold on.
two-state solution.
Hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying here.
The British mandate had a two-state solution, no?
Are you talking about the Balfour Declaration?
Yeah, no, but after that, the British mandate had a two-state solution. There was going to be an Arab state and there was going to be a Jewish state. Right after that, all the Arabs invaded. That's something that you don't like to talk about. Let's be honest.
Well, it
here.
wasn't your land to have in the first
Well,
place.
it was Britain's land.
It wasn't. It wasn't. Ben
And
who?
Before that, it was the Turkish
It wasn't.
land.
It wasn't your land to have in the
That's what
first
it
place.
is.
It wasn't your
England
land to have in the
conquered
first
it, and
place.
They gave it to half to the Arabs.
It wasn't
and they
your
chopped
land
it
to
up,
have in the
bro.
first place.
They chopped it up.
It
And
wasn't.
then
Look at this guy. He's mad. Yeah, and you're pissed off.
They
Look at
chopped
you,
it
triggered
up.
because you don't like the
Listen,
facts.
They chopped it up.
Yeah,
They chopped
well,
it
it's
up.
kinda
We
hot
had
out
a
here.
deal. They
It's
chopped
kinda
it
hot
up.
out
We had
here.
a deal, and all
Meanwhile,
the
you guys
Arabs
are
came in
being
and destroyed
emotional.
it. I'm not being
Again.
emotional. I'm
No,
telling
no,
you
I was
what's
talking
up.
to this guy.
I'm
Like
being
I said
emotional.
before.
There was a two-state solution. There was.
Here's the
Given by England, half to the Jewish state, half to an Arab state.
Again.
Immediately.
Again.
Right after the Holocaust.
It wasn't
and you're gonna
theirs.
be like, oh, he's bringing up the Holocaust. It was right after the Holocaust. We didn't have any sort of military institution behind us.
Really?
We had the Haganah and the Irgun. It was nothing. It was underground.
What are the Haganah and Irgun?
Okay, listen.
And the Lehi gang? What are they?
They were fighting for a Jewish state.
They're terrorist organizations. They're terrorist organizations,
a
and you know
terrorist-
it.
They weren't a
Israel was
terrorist
created by
organization.
terrorist organizations.
No, it was created because the
No.
British. No, listen.
It's created
you need
through.
to read your
You
facts.
killed the British.
No, the British gave it over, and the British.
Yes.
The British killed us, and Muslims killed the
The King
terrorists.
David Hotel?
And
The
Muslims
King David
killed-
Hotel? You guys don't know your history. That's
I
the
do
funny
know my
part.
history. I don't think
Zionists
you
don't
know your
their
history.
history. They don't know their history.
The
This is
Jews
comical.
literally corrupted their
You
own holy
killed the
books.
British.
You can't trust them.
No, this is live. This is live. You just went
Hey, you're a
ridiculous live.
fucking clown, dude.
Yeah, and this guy's angry too. Yo, look at the Zionist tears. They don't like the truth. They don't like the fact that your country was made on terrorism. They don't like the fact
I'm
that
gonna
you
tell you
killed
the
100
truth.
innocent
This is
people
the truth.
in the King David
Whenever you're
Hotel.
ready.
You
Hold
don't
on,
like the
hold on.
fact that
This is the
your
truth.
country was
Whenever
created
you're
through
ready. Go ahead,
terrorism. The very terrorism that you guys denounced today was created by Haganah, Lehi, and the Stern Gang. And on top of that, you guys stole our weapons to do it. You stole our nuclear
understand.
technology.
Are you ready?
killed our president.
You ready?
guys,
Okay, hold on.
You
I
guys
gotta tell
attacked
you
our
this.
U.S. ship. It was given. Comical. Comical.
Okay, listen.
Comical.
You
That's
ready?
why JFK did not want nuclear proliferation. See?
Okay.
No. You guys.
I understand your perspective.
You guys.
You wanna hear something?
See, here's the reality. This is what I love.
Hold on, let him talk. Let him-
This
let
is
him
what I
talk.
love. Right? Zionists come here. Zionists come in here and argue with me and say, oh, well, you know, on this day, such and such happened.
1 second.
Okay, what's the Hannibal
gonna leave it in a
Directive?
second.
They don't know. They don't know that a bunch of Israelis and a bunch of innocent people
Are
were
we
killed
gonna
by
have
the
a
IDF.
conversation?
Then on top of
Okay,
that,
you ready?
they don't know how
Okay.
their country was made. Then they don't know that the British. You killed the British in the King David Hotel. You guys assassinated a bunch of British people. Then on top of that, the state of Israel raided through 3 main terrorist organizations that are now rebranded into the IDF that we know now. Now, with that said, the UN. No, I know about
That's
it. The
fine,
Balfour
that's fine. Keep
Declaration,
going.
and it was read to the Rothschilds. You don't even know the name of it.
Listen.
1917, the
Myron.
Balfour Declaration. You don't know. And you.
Myron.
What were you gonna say? What are you gonna say? You
Can
don't
I
know
say
what you're
something?
talking
Can you
about.
wait for a second?
You're just sitting here. You don't know what you're talking
All
about
right.
at all.
This is
Again, you Zionists don't understand your own history of your own country.
We can argue about the past.
You haven't do it. No.
Let's
You're
Myron.
Israel first.
Myron.
You're Israel first. You're Israel first.
Myron.
And quite frankly, Israel is a parasitic country.
Okay.
It's a parasitic
ready?
country. We should not be giving you guys aid anymore. You guys are making us look terrible. We give you billions of dollars of aid that you don't got to pay back. You guys will not exist without American aid.
Perfect.
You guys, quite frankly, were built on terrorism, and it's an evil country. This is why we have to run cover for you guys. We have to run cover for you guys at the UN. The entire international world condemns you.
Hello.
You guys are running illegal settlements. You guys are running illegal settlements. You kill innocent kids every day.
Can I ask you a question?
You kill innocent kids every single day.
Wait.
Actually, they went and did a study.
Yo,
and they
Myron,
figured out that that was a lie.
wait.
That was a lie.
Hey,
That was a lie.
you have like 200.
7 of you to even formulate an argument.
I'm gonna tell you
the
what
inbreeding is real.
Myron, listen. There is only one truth. Myron, there's only one truth whenever you're ready.
Say it. All right,
Whenever you're ready to listen, there's only one truth. No matter how much you can hate the Jews.
I don't hate the Jews.
Hold on.
See, I love that.
Hold on. I didn't finish my fucking sentence.
I hate the Jews.
You can. I didn't say you are. You can hate the Jews. You can like the Jews. You can hate Zionists. You can love Zionists. You can hate Israel. You can love Israel. At the end of the day, you'll not kill any Jews. You're not going to kill the ideology of Judaism, and you're not going to kill the ideology of Zionists. Guess what? Israel will stand in the future. Period. You can't fuck with that. That's it. That's the fucking truth. You cannot kill that. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, us Jews are going to prevail and stick together. And this guy can think whatever he wants.
Islam's the truth, though.
That's fine.
You're not America first. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing
and we will
at all.
Continue
you guys can
to grow.
succeed
Yeah,
in
America
this life.
first,
We'll succeed in the
America
next
only.
life.
Fuck Israel. Anyway.
Yo, can you?
Yeah.
Yo,
Fuck
you
Israel.
All right. On the
Fuck
same
Israel.
topic.
Let's go.
You
let's
have
go to the next
200.
person.
You have.
Let's go to.
Wait.
let's go to the next person.
Yo, Myron.
Look.
You have 200 people here, right?
So here's the thing.
You have 200 plus people
Again,
here.
yeah.
Can you
And you
maybe
guys-
go off script once?
Look.
And say something positive?
What was I gonna say?
Can you maybe go off script once and say something positive that brings us together instead of name calling and saying Zionists?
Oh, you guys
did,
been doing the name calling.
Jews that. All right, guys, chill for a second. You've had your platform, right? One time, can you say something positive?
About what?
Zionism, Jews, Muslims, us as a people. Can you say something? Women deserve less. Can you say something positive?
Israel's a parasitic state, and we need to stop supporting it.
All right, brother.
That's what we need to do. They're killing innocent people, and they're dragging our name in the mud alongside it. No more aid to Israel.
Why don't you go
no
live
more
there?
aid.
If you love Hamas
no more
so much,
aid.
why don't you go live
no,
there and fight for them?
I'm saying we need to stop supporting Israel. That's what I'm saying. We need to stop giving you guys aid.
Why should we stop
Because you guys are
supporting
dragging
them?
our name in the mud. Now, with that said, though, look, we gotta move on. We gotta
Listen,
move on.
if you say
guys,
Hamas-
yeah, sure.
Yeah, one thing
Sure.
is that you said
And
you
your
agree
name
with
is
Hamas,
Israel.
and
Fantastic.
they're a terrorist organization.
Go ahead. Yeah. I don't want our country being run by a bunch of Zionists that want to go ahead and continue a genocide on innocent people. You're an embarrassment. Okay, who's up
All
next?
This physical world shit is all bullshit. At the end of the day, this whole
Yeah, we
world
gotta
is
cut it?
run by
All right.
spirituality.
Yeah. We gotta cut it. Go. Next person.
Spirituality. Listen.
Industry.
At the end of the day, we
gotta
we
just
live
move it.
in
We
a
just gotta-
spiritual world.
We gotta switch the topic, guys, so we
And
keep
at
the stream
end
going.
of the day,
We gotta switch the
you can
topic so
fight
that
it
we
all you
can.
want.
We gotta
Can I
switch
say
the
something?
topic. We gotta switch the topic, guys.
Why?
Look, I was telling y'all, you know what I mean? We got peace here. People are getting animated.
We want peace.
Okay,
we want
buddy.
peace.
Sure.
We want peace.
Sure. So you guys gotta go. You guys gotta go. What? You guys gotta go. Like I said, we're running our stream. You guys can stand there, but I'm saying like we're gonna move on to the topic. No, you can stay. I'm saying that we gotta move the topic. We gotta move the topic. I mean, Miami PD, look, they're here. Yeah. Can we just we're gonna switch topics. All right, we gotta switch topics, guys. We gotta switch topics. Cop is here. He's saying switch topic. So let's move we gotta switch topics. Yeah, we gotta switch topics. We gotta switch topics, guys. Sorry.
Hey, if you're
We
so
again.
fucking smart, what is the U.S. currency at the dollar right now?
You got this? Like, yeah, it's crazy. Pierre. Yeah. Yeah. This is crazy.
Listen, you're doing it in front of a fucking synagogue. That wasn't the smartest idea, no? Maybe go in front of a mosque, do it somewhere else, but in front of a synagogue, that's fucking crazy. On a fucking Friday
The truth
night.
is the truth,
I know,
regardless
but
of
on
where I
Shabbat,
am.
Bro, that's wild.
Truth is the truth.
That's not gonna happen.
And you know, this is crazy because
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Shut it
this is
down.
crazy. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is crazy.
Jews think they own the block. The Jews think they own.
This is awesome. This is crazy. You guys just make yourselves look worse. This doesn't help the cause at all. It just proves that you guys can't have discussion. This is like, yeah, this is just proves my point. Yep. This proves the stereotypes. This proves the stereotypes. Man, this is crazy. See? Come in, start a problem, can't even have a discussion. Proves all the stereotypes right. Well, here's the thing, right? You guys can't even have a civil discussion. You guys can't even not. You're yelling, being emotional. This is just proving my point even more so. I'm sitting here chilling. You guys are yelling and heckling. This is ridiculous. Can't even be adults. Can't even be adults. You gotta yell and scream and act crazy and everything, and this guy's here now. I don't know what's going on. Like, it's just wild. Using slurs and all that other stuff. Yeah. So this is very, yeah. See, it's wild because now we can't, look, you say pack your shit. Look at this. Did you say this is a public sidewalk? Who are you? Who are you? What are you? What? Freedom of speech. This is America. This is America. Freedom of speech. America. Hey, if you don't like it, go back to Tel Aviv. That's why you got kicked out of 109 countries. That's why you guys got kicked out of 109 countries.
Racist.